We are learning the laws of Naziris, of a Nazir. I don't know if there's an English word for it. Nazarite. That's English. Right? Someone who wants to separate themselves from the world, worldly ways, because they see that, you get too involved in the ways of the world, it can be very destructive. All right. Chapter 3. So the person can't drink wine, leaves their hair grow long, can't impurify themselves with corpse, become impure, have to bring an offering afterwards, and so on. Okay. If the specification is not made, the term of the Nazarite vow is 30 days. Right? If someone would say, I'm a Nazarite, I'm not saying it, but someone would say, Reuven says, I'm a Nazarite, and he doesn't say for how long. The duration is 30 days, right? What is implied? If a person said, I am a Nazarite, he must uphold his vow for no less than 30 days. Even if he said, I'll be a Nazarite for an exceeding long and protracted time, he must uphold the Nazarite vow only 30 days, for he did not specify a time. Okay? Yes. But today, we learned this yesterday, actually, in chapter 2, that today, since you have no way to absolve yourself of being a Nazarite, you're a Nazarite forever. Because you can't bring an offering now. You can't cleanse yourself in the holy temple, right? To shave afterwards, because you have to do that by the holy temple. Can't do that now. So therefore, someone does it, someone takes upon themselves there forever. Now, as we learn, you can go to a sage and have it annul the vow, because it's based on a vow. So you can have it annulled. But if you don't have it annulled, so then it would be forever. Huh? You're letting your hair grow long. So all the hippies out there, Akoi, I don't know. Are you drinking wine? No? Oh, okay. You're two for. All right. Anyways, just joking. Huh? Yeah, be careful about what you say. Yeah. If he specified a time span that was less than 30 days, he said, I'll be a Nazarite for 1 day, for 10 days, 20 days. He must observe a Nazarite for 30 days. Minimum's 30 days. For there's no concept of Nazarite vow for less than 30 days. This concept is conveyed in the oral tradition. In other words, it's not a verse in the Torah. The oral tradition teaches us this fact, which was given in Mount Sinai. Okay? If a person explicitly mentioned the time span greater than 30 days, he mentioned 31 days, 40 days, 100 days, 100 years. So Nazarite for that time, you specified neither more nor less. When a person says, I will be a Nazarite for 1 hour, he must uphold a Nazarite for 30 days. If he said, I'll be a Nazarite for 30 days and 1 hour, he must hold for 31 days. But there's no conception of a Nazarite vow for only hours. It's for a day minimum. 30 days minimum, and thereupon by days. Following rules apply when a person says, I will be a Nazarite from here until this and this place. If he did not set out on the road, he must uphold Nazarite vow for 30 days. Right? Now, he's making it not about time, but about a distance to get somewhere. Well, if he doesn't go immediately to that place, so he's got to do it for 30 days. If his intent was to make a vow for a long Nazarite vow, as evident from the fact that he did not specify a time. Different rules apply if he set out on the way. If it was less than 30-day journey, he must uphold Nazarite vow for 30 days, as we said, right? No less than 30. If it was more than 30-day journey, he must observe 1 Nazarite vow for the duration of the days of the journey. So if it's a 40-day journey, right? Then go for 40. You can shut it off. David? You can shut it off if you want. Okay. Number 6. When a person says, I will observe 2 terms of Nazarite vows, or 3 or 4, he must observe the number of Nazarite vows he mentioned, each one lasting 30 days, because he didn't give a specified time, so each one's 30 days. At the end of the 30-day period, he must shave, bring the sacrifice, and bring observing the second Nazarite vow. Even if he said, I will observe 100,000 Nazarite vows, and it's impossible for him to live that long, he should observe them one by one until it includes the amount of Nazarite vows he took. Huh? Yeah. The difference is, if you did it, if Reuven said, I'll be a Nazarite to the end of my days, so then it's only one vow. Here, he took 100,000 vows. So it means he has to bring, after 30 days, he has to shave, he has to bring a sacrifice. Actually, did it say a sacrifice?
It's not really specified the time he dies. Right, he wouldn't know what he does. He wouldn't know what he does.
No, he says until the time he dies. So that means until, that's forever. But that's only one vow, right?
Forever, more than 30 days.
Yeah, he brings a sacrifice. He must shave and bring the sacrifice. So there's a difference forever, right? Because forever, you're not going to shave and bring a sacrifice because it's forever. As opposed to, I'm going to do 100,000 times, right? Which is forever of your lifetime, right? But each 30 days, you'll have to shave and bring a sacrifice. Okay, but that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant to what you got to do, right?
Brings the sacrifice. He shaves and brings the sacrifice. He begins.
Not the 30 days. Exactly. When a person says, I will observe Nazarite vows as many days as there are in a year, he must observe the Nazarite vows as there are days in the year. If he explicitly mentioned the solar year, he must observe 365 Nazarite vows. No, he just said if it was based on solar, then it's solar, right? Right, so he has to do 365 vows, with each one being 30 days long. If he mentioned a lunar year, then he has to do 354 Nazarite vows. If he did not explicitly state a solar year or lunar year, it must be 354. Rationale said, as we've already explained, with regard to vows, we follow the wording usually employed by people at large. Now, most solar years are 365 long, most lunar years 354. And when a person at large uses the term year, they mean a lunar year, right? Because that's what our calendar is based on. So that's what usually you mean, right? Again, just taking what the common occurrence of meaning would be. When a person says, I will observe 1.5 Nazarite vows, he's obligated to observe 2 Nazarite vows. When one says, I'll be another for 1 day, or I'll be another for 1 hour, he must observe another and 1 day, right? And in other words, he's doing 2 vows, right? Nazir and 1 day, 2 terms, right? So I'll be a Nazir, meaning 1 term, and an hour. So he has to observe 2 Nazirite vows, right? Both 30 days long. If he says, I'm a Nazirite and 1, he must observe 2 Nazirite vows. If he says, I'm a Nazirite 1 and more, he must observe 3 Nazirite vows. If he says, I'm a Nazirite 1 more and again, then there has to be 4. If he says, I'm a Nazirite for 30 days and 1 day, he has to observe 1 Nazirite vow for 31 days.
Okay, not 2. Okay.
Right.
I thought it might have been 2 different vows. That seems odd.
Because before he said, I'm a Nazir and 1. So Nazir meaning that's 1 whole, and 1 is another vow for another time period. But when he says 30 days and 1 day, he means to add it together to the 30 days. I'm adding an extra day to the 30, so it's 31. It's not 2 separate ones. It's just a common way we speak that Rambam is just, being exacting upon. Okay. Remember, if you recall, remember we said that, you need to take into consideration, it has to be what's in your heart. If your heart was that you are, doing, this is what you meant in your heart, but the words have to express it, what's on your heart. Okay. Yeah, the following rules apply when there are two pairs of witnesses testify concerning a person. One testifies that he took 2 Nazarite vows. The other testifies he took 5 vows. He's required to observe 2 vows. For we include in the 5 are 2, and thus all testify that he took 2 vows. So no one's arguing on the 2. So we go with what? For vows, we said we're lenient. We take the more lenient. Number 10. Following rules apply when a person took 2 Nazarite vows, whether he took them both at the same time or he took them one after the other. He said, I am a Nazarite for a day. I'm a Nazarite for a day. If he counted the days of the first vow and set aside his sacrifices, and then asked to be for an absolution of his vow and had it released, the days he observed of the first vow can count for the second. He can bring the sacrifice that he set aside and complete his obligation. Moreover, even if he brought the sacrifices for his atonement, and even if he shaved off his hair and then asked for the vow to be absolved, the observance of the first vow fulfills the second. The rationale is that the second vow does not take effect until after the first one is completed. And since the first vow was released, it is as if it did not exist initially. And then what's the point of bringing the sacrifices in?
Now.
Not perfectly clear on that. When a person says, I'll be a Nazarite forever, or I'll be a Nazarite for all the days of my life, he is considered a Nazarite forever. If he says it will be a Nazarite for 1,000 years, he's considered a Nazarite for a limited time, even though it's impossible for a person to live 1,000 years. The difference between these two categories is in the next halacha, right? Like, what's the difference, right? Seemingly, there's no difference. So he says the difference between the Nazarite forever, Nazarite for a limited time, Nazarite for a limited time is forbidden to cut his hair until the conclusion of Nazarite vow. As states throughout the days of the Nazarite vow, a razor shall not pass over his head, and the days are completed. Nazarite forever, by contrast, may alleviate the burden of his hair with a razor every 12 months. He should not, however, shave his head entirely, but he can cut his hair. When he cuts his hair, he must bring a sacrifice of 3 animals, as it states with regard to Avshalom for a year to year when he would shave, because his hair was heavy for him, and he would shave. Avshalom was an Nazarite forever. This concept is the halacha transmitted by the oral tradition. In other words, the oral tradition tells us that if you say forever, that every 12 months you could, right? Why? Doesn't say. But if it's 1,000 years, then you can't shave every year. Because forever, I guess, means you're forever, but right, forever means you can't drink wine, by the way, forever, right? Or any derivatives of the grape. And you can't become impure by coming in contact with a corpse, right? That's the other thing. That's part of forever. But cutting your hair The oral tradition says, again, it doesn't give a rationale for it. I guess because the way I understand is when you give a time period, so that time period needs to be respected. Forever, well, it's not a time period. So therefore, every year you could, you know, whatever that means. But anyway, that's the law. Samson was not a Nazarite in a complete sense, for he never took a Nazarite vow. It was merely that the angel caused him to be separated from impurity. What are the laws applying to him? He was forbidden to drink wine and cut his hair. He was, however, permitted to incur impurity due to the contact with the dead. These concepts are halacha transmitted by the oral tradition. So he was different. Yeah. So he was not forbidden to come in contact with the corpse of a Philistine whom he killed, right? Accordingly, if someone said, behold, I'm a Nazarite like Samson, he is a Nazarite forever with regard to the prohibition against cutting his hair and drinking wine. He may not cut his hair every 12 months like others Nazarites forever. So he can't do that, right? Because he didn't say forever. He is, however, permitted to become impure because of contact with the dead. It's very interesting. Okay. If one says, my intent is to refer to another person whose name was also Samson, he's not an Nazarite. When a person takes an Nazarite like Samson, he is not permitted to have it absolved, for Samson's Nazarite vow was binding forever. So when you're doing it like him, you can't get it absolved. Remember, we could absolve, right, the vow, because all vows could potentially be absolved. But if you're doing it like him, so then you can't. Yeah, when a person says, behold, I am like Samson, or like Manoach's son, or Delilah's husband, right? All referring to Samson, like the one who operated the gates of Gaza. Oh, where is he now? Or like the one whose eyes were gouged out by the Philistines. He must keep Nazarite restrictions observance by Samson, even though these deeds could have been performed by another person. Yeah, but that's who he's referring to. The prophet Shmuel, Samuel of Ramah, was a Nazarite forever. Therefore, one who says, behold, I'm like Shmuel, the prophet of Ramah, or like Hannah's son, like Elkanah's son, like the one who hewed Agag at Gilgal, or the like, he is a Nazarite forever. We do not say that perhaps his intent was to refer to another person who performed such deeds. When a person says, behold, I am a Nazarite at this building, I'm like a Nazarite as this building is full, or as this container is full, we investigate the intent. If he says, my intent was not to be a Nazarite for my entire life, instead, my intent was only prolong the days of Nazarite vow for a long time. He must have observed Nazarite vow for only 30 days. So, full jar means like a full life, he'd be a Nazarite. No, we investigate. What does he mean? If he says it's only meant for a long time, so then it's only 30 days since he didn't give a specific amount of days. If he said, I made this vow without any specific intent, we see if the container is as if it is filled with mustard seeds, and he must be a Nazarite for his entire life. He is permitted to cut his hair every 12 months. At that time, he must bring sacrifice like every other Nazarite forever. 18. When a person says, behold, I am a Nazarite, like the hairs of my head, like the dust of the earth, like the sand of the sea. It is as if he said, I will keep as many Nazarite vows as there are hairs on my head. I will have the dust of my earth, or as dust of the earth, and the sand of the seashore. Therefore, he must shave his hair every 30 days and begin observing second Nazarite vow for 30 days, cut his hair, continue that pattern until he dies. Whenever he shaves his hair, he is forbidden to drink wine and become impure because of contact with the dead. Pure because of contact with the dead. If he drinks wine and becomes impure, even in the days that he shaves his head, he is worthy of lashes. Last halacha in chapter 3. Whenever a person says, behold, I'm a Nazarite if I eat this loaf of bread, because I am a Nazarite if I eat, behold, I'm a Nazarite if I eat it, behold, I'm a Nazarite if I I'm a Nazarite if I eat it. Behold, I'm a Nazarite if I eat it. If he eats it, he is obliged to become a Nazarite. Vows as he took. He observes it consecutively each one 30 days. And then 30 days he shaves his hair and brings a sacrifice. Psh. Let's do one halacha in the next chapter. When a person says, behold, I'm a Nazarite, he should perform shaving requirement of a Nazarite. Thou is completed impurity on the 31st day. If he performed the shaving on the 30th day, he fulfills the obligation. If he says, behold, I'm a Nazarite for 30 days, he may only perform the shaving on the 31st day. All right. Yes. Okay, folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
4 o'clock.